What were some of those accomplishments as artists that you've worked with and some of
Oh
the things?
my gosh. It's a pretty long list. I carry it around with me like a big sack of potatoes over my shoulder. But I've won 6 Emmy Awards, 13 Emmy nominations. I Quincy Jones called me to work on The Wiz in 1978. Worked, see, got an Academy Award nomination for my work on The Color Purple. Maybe somewhere north of $8 billion in box office in terms of the films that I've contributed to. Worked with legendary composers from and arrangers, people like Marvin Hamlish and David Foster and Bruce Broughton, who did Silverado. That was my first orchestral feature that I orchestrated in 1985. Ralph Burns, Dave Grusin, you know, the list, those guys that goes on. I was like one of those guys. I was a handful of guys who had this skill to where I could show. In fact, Michael Kamen, who did Lethal Weapons and the Die Hards and Band of Brothers, and he was a dear friend of mine. And his agent called me up and said, "Go meet Michael at the Mondrian Hotel on Sunset Boulevard." And I meet him at midnight, and he gives me this cue to write for the next day, which was the end of Lethal Weapon 1.